Welcome to Surveying and Geospatial Insights, the podcast dedicated to the science and art of measurement. I'm your host, Survey Steve, and today we are delving into a topic that serves as the absolute foundation of our profession. Joining me is my colleague Debora, an expert in land law and professional practice. Today we're talking about surveying professional ethics. Debora, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Steve. It's a critical topic. When we talk about ethics, it's easy to think of it as just a set of rules to keep us out of trouble. But it's so much more than that. It's about the immense trust that society places in us to accurately define property rights, ensure the safety of infrastructure, and provide unbiased spatial data. It is the very bedrock of our professional integrity.
Absolutely. So let's start by breaking down the core principles, or canons, of surveying ethics. These are often codified by professional bodies like the National Society of Professional Surveyors in the U.S., but their themes are universal. The first, and perhaps the most fundamental, is the duty to maintain and demonstrate competence.
That's right. Competence goes far beyond knowing how to operate a total station or a GNSS receiver. It means having a deep understanding of the legal principles, historical context, and mathematical science behind our work. Crucially, it also means recognizing the limits of our own knowledge and the limits of our technology. An ethical surveyor will not take on a project, whether it's a complex ALTA survey, a hydrographic project, or a high-order geodetic control network, unless they possess the requisite expertise and resources to do it correctly. It demands a commitment to lifelong learning.
The second canon is an unwavering commitment to honesty and integrity. Our measurements and professional opinions often form the basis for multi-million-dollar transactions, construction projects, and legal judgments. This requires us to be impartial arbiters of evidence. Our job is to find the boundary, not create it to suit a client's desires. We must present our findings truthfully and objectively, even when that truth is inconvenient or unwelcome.
This leads directly into the third principle. Our primary obligation is to the public. While we are retained by clients, our ultimate responsibility is to the public good. The stability of the land tenure system, the safety of our buildings and roads, and the fair administration of property law depend on the quality and integrity of our work. When we affix our professional seal to a survey plat or plan, we are making a solemn promise not just to our client, but to society as a whole, that the work is accurate, complete, and reliable.
And finally, there's the principle of fidelity to our clients, which must always exist in balance with our public duty. This means we act as a faithful agent for our client within the bounds of the law and ethics. We must protect their confidential information, provide clear communication, and scrupulously avoid conflicts of interest. For instance, it is a clear ethical breach for a surveyor to perform a boundary survey for a property they have a personal financial stake in, as their impartiality would be compromised.
These principles are very clear on paper, but their true test comes in the face of real-world dilemmas. Let's consider a classic scenario. A landowner hires you for a boundary survey. They are absolutely adamant that their property line extends to an old fence line, which would conveniently grant them ownership of a valuable grove of trees. However, your extensive research of deeds, historical records, and your meticulous field investigation for original monuments conclusively show the true line is 20 feet inside of that fence. The client becomes irate and pressures you to reevaluate your findings in their favor. What does the ethical path require?
That's a situation nearly every experienced surveyor has faced. The ethical path is unwavering, though it is not always the easy one. A surveyor's duty is to the evidence, not the client's preference. The correct professional response is to first ensure your work is unassailable. Then, you must thoroughly document all the evidence you've gathered, both for and against the client's position. The next step is to communicate your professional conclusion clearly, calmly, and authoritatively, referencing the specific evidence that supports it. Your professional opinion cannot be bought or swayed by pressure. To knowingly stake a false line is one of the gravest ethical violations, creating a cloud on the title and guaranteeing future legal disputes. Your seal on that plat is your bond.
Precisely. Now let's explore another difficult case. While surveying a parcel of land, you uncover what appears to be a significant blunder in a recorded survey of an adjacent property performed and sealed by another licensed surveyor years ago. This error materially affects the boundary lines and could have serious legal and financial implications for both landowners. What is the surveyor's ethical obligation in this instance?
This is a particularly delicate matter that pits professional courtesy against our public duty. The first step, always, is to be absolutely certain of your own work. Double-check and then triple-check your measurements, your research, and your calculations. Assuming you are confident a significant error exists, your primary duty is to protect the public and the integrity of the land record. Often the first step is to contact the other surveyor directly to discuss the discrepancy in a professional, non-confrontational manner. Many apparent errors can be resolved through collegial collaboration and the sharing of information. However, if the other surveyor is deceased, unresponsive, or unwilling to correct a clear and substantial error, you have an ethical obligation to report your findings to the appropriate authorities, which is typically the state licensure board. This action isn't about punishing a colleague. It is about upholding the standards of the entire profession and preventing future harm. Let's consider another common pressure: the pressure of the bottom line. Imagine a developer client who is on a tight budget and an even tighter schedule. They ask you to expedite a large subdivision survey by cutting corners, perhaps by not setting all the required property corners or using a less rigorous methodology than the standard of practice dictates, with the promise of more work to come if you can help them out. How does an ethical surveyor navigate this?
These traditional ethical dilemmas are now being joined by new challenges brought on by rapid technological change. Tools like unmanned aerial vehicles, terrestrial laser scanning, and sophisticated data processing software have revolutionized our workflows, but they also introduce new and complex ethical considerations.
Indeed. A primary concern is what's often called the black box phenomenon. It is now possible for a technician with minimal training to operate a drone, feed the imagery into photogrammetric software, and produce a visually impressive 3D model or map with the push of a button. The ethical surveyor, however, understands that they are responsible for the entire process. They must have a firm grasp of the underlying principles, the sources of error, the geometric constraints of the sensor, the critical importance of surveyed ground control, and the proper data processing workflows to achieve a specified accuracy. Simply trusting the software's output without a comprehensive understanding of its limitations is a clear breach of professional competence.
That's a crucial point, Steve. We are also now custodians of vast amounts of data, which brings up significant issues of data privacy and security. A detailed LiDAR scan of a private property can capture immense detail, not just of the land itself, but of the structures, assets, and even the activities taking place on it. We have a profound ethical duty to protect this data, to be transparent with clients about how it will be used and stored, and to ensure it is not compromised or misused.
And this responsibility extends to how we market our services. It is deeply unethical to use technological jargon to mislead a potential client or to promise a level of precision or accuracy that the technology, site conditions, or project budget cannot realistically deliver. Honesty in our proposals and advertising is a direct reflection of our professional integrity. You must be able to deliver what you promise.
All of these points underscore why professional organizations and state licensing boards are so vital. They are not merely gatekeepers to the profession, they are the guardians of its ethical standards. They provide the model codes of conduct, the forums for discussion, and, when necessary, the framework for enforcement when a surveyor's conduct falls short of their professional obligations.
They also champion the absolute necessity of continuing education. A professional license isn't a lifetime pass. It is a commitment to remain current in a constantly evolving field. Most state boards mandate that a certain number of professional development hours be dedicated specifically to ethics courses as part of the license renewal process. This is because the challenges we face are constantly changing with technology, law, and societal expectations. Active participation in our professional organizations helps us all stay informed and hold each other to the highest possible standard.
To sum it all up, professional ethics in surveying is the silent partner in every calculation we perform, every measurement we take, and every decision we make in the field and in the office. It's about a constant dedication to ensuring our work serves the public trust, withstands the strictest scrutiny, and contributes positively to a stable and orderly society.
Perfectly stated, Deborah. It is the core of our professional identity. Thank you so much for sharing your invaluable insights with us today. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to Surveying and Geospatial Insights. Join us next time as we take a deep dive into the evolving world of geodetic control networks.